It's one thing in relationships that we don't like to talk about. We don't like to talk about the fact that we like to test people. Yeah, that's right. I said it. We like to test people. I know you're looking at the camera like, I don't test people. So why do you bring them in these environments? Why do you bring people around them? Why do you have them meet your family? These are all forms of tests. The Bible says, test the spirit to know if they're from God. So we're testing people, spirit, we're testing people to see how they respond to certain situations. We're bringing people around them. We're doing certain things. We're saying certain things to see how they respond to what we're saying. We're asking them questions about their past relationships. We're asking them about their job. We ask them about how they look at life. These are all forms of tests. So when people say that they don't test, I'm like, we have to look at it a little differently. We test in one form or another. But one test that I'm going to share with you that you should always pass this one, and this is a test of character, is the hall pass test. The hall pass test, and let me break down what a hall pass is. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hall Pass, but a hall pass is basically in the movie was a woman. She was married to a guy. I forget the actors what their name was, but she basically gave him free reign to sleep with any woman he wants. And I remember when I was younger, I was in my early mid 20s. I was dating a girl and she gave me a hall pass like, hey, you can do whatever you want with these girls. We're not in a relationship. We're not trying to get into a relationship, even though they were. She was trying to get into a relationship, and so was I. She was like, as long as I don't know about it, it's fine. So I'm like, again, flesh mind, not spirit mind. Flesh mind's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, 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 yeah. So fast forward a few days, she comes over to my place at the time. I was living in Greensboro, and I left some evidence of a previous night in my garbage. Ripped up condoms, used condoms. I'm gonna just tell you honestly what it was. And she looked there like, oh, looks like you had a good night. She's looking in the trash. And in my mind, I'm like, she's never looked in the garbage before. Where's this coming from? I'm like, yeah, just like you said, it's a hall pass, right? Wrong. After that, her entire mood changed. Her entire demeanor changed. And I'm like, yo, what happened? You said it was okay. But it wasn't okay. I failed a test. We have to be mindful that people are giving us these alternatives, whether they are right, wrong, or in between. They are giving us these scenarios for a reason. And it's a true test of where your character is. I was terrible at the time. I was out here sleeping around, trying to figure my life out, didn't know my purpose. I was a mess, y'all. And I can admit that to you because God has forgiven me. I've asked for forgiveness to the young lady, and she's forgiven me as well. And I'm telling this story to say that there's no such thing as a test, or there's no such thing as testing people without a purpose. Everybody does it. You do it, I do it, we all do it. But never fall for that hall pass test. That's one of the things I want you to get out of this. Never fall for the hall pass test. If a person really cares about you, now I'm not talking about people who believe in polygamy. I'm talking about if you believe man and woman should be married, just one man and just one woman. If a woman really cares about you, if a man really cares about you, they're not going to want you to be sleeping around or seeing other people. I don't care what they say. I don't care how confident they look when they say it. You have to register in your mind that this is a trick. And if you fall for the trick, you know what you just did? You showed yourself to be a person that's not worth having. And if you're that person, better yet, just tell them. You don't go through the test and show them. Just tell them, hey, you know what? I see what you're doing. This is not the thing for me. I'm not at this level. But if you are wanting to do it God's way, which is, in my opinion, and not even my opinion, this is fact, the only way, then we have to be able to look at this and say, yeah, I know you're thinking that I'm going to be okay with this hall pass, but the fact of the matter is I'm not. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it because, first of all, I'm not even sexually active. I'm abstinent. I am waiting until we get married. Matter of fact, are you waiting until we get married? See how you can you can test with a test, and your test is not saying, "Oh, you passed," "Oh, you failed," "Oh, get out of my face." It's really testing for compatibility and whether we admit it or not. Again, that's exactly what we do. We test for compatibility, y'all. And there's nothing wrong with that. Never let somebody make you feel some type of way because you're asking them questions. If they are questioning why you're questioning them, then you need to question why you're still dating them. Questions are part of dialogue. Now, I'm not saying you need to sit down and do a interrogation where you're asking them 65 questions. Let it flow naturally in conversation, just like I'm talking to you all right now. And just ask the questions. Hey, tell me about your last relationship, or hey, tell me what you think about life. What is life? What is life to you? Or better yet, my friend Deshaun in our last He Said She Said live, he asked the question to his wife to be at the time, they weren't married yet. What does love mean to you? These are deep questions. You know how deep you can go with those questions? You know how much you can tell about a person's character by how they answer questions? Why do you think jobs interview people? They don't interview you to answer the question oftentimes, unless you just come up with something that's unrealistic, or they can tell that you're fabricating things. But they're testing to see, or they're assessing, see, assessing, testing. They're assessing to see how well you can handle or answer a question. How are you formulating your ideas? Even when it's a question that seems like it's coming from Pluto. So never feel discouraged when somebody's testing you and you know it. They're just trying to see who you are. And if you are who you are, you got nothing to worry about. Now, if you're not who you are, it's time to say, check please, and get out of there.